Good evening, everybody. This is Laura from Healthy Carnivore. So, I'm going to get on here. I'm going to go over a little bit of the backstory and then I'm going to get on to tonight's topic. This was something that a viewer had sent that they wanted me to go over. Um, so, I'll do that. So, I'm a registered nurse. I've been in nursing for over 23 years. In 1991, I found myself at 313 pounds following the low fat crappy diet, sugar laden dressings that had no fat, but lots of sugar, seed oils, all the things. Um, was offered statins by my doctor. I was 20. I refused those. I took the paper script, but I didn't fill it. I went to the library, got all the old medical journals I could find that were prior to 1910, because we all know what happened in 1910, and veterinarian journals, because I thought, doctors have to know one body system, veterinarians have to know several different body systems. So I thought, why not look at both? So that's what I did. That led me to basically what you would know as keto. I threw away everything white: potatoes, pasta, rice, sugar, breads, everything. Anything packaged. I also just basically did single ingredient food. So I deer hunt, I fish, trap, things like that. So that was the meat sources that I had. And then we garden and huge garden. And so that's what I basically ate. And I did that for 9 months. I lost 153 pounds. I went from triglycerides of at least 1,000. That's as high as they know. They didn't do hemoglobin A1Cs at the time, down to 33 for my triglycerides in 9 months. My doctor, of course, was very happy that his magical statin, which no drug is made to cure anything, had fixed everything. And we had to have a come to Jesus meeting where basically I just told him, shame on him for not knowing how my body worked and that I had not filled his script, where he was very appalled, very miffed, and basically just said to me I was going to die a fat ass. As to which I fired him and I lost 200 pounds day, like ground zero. And so that led me on to, this clean eating lifestyle. I did that for 28 years total. 26 of those were 100% just single ingredient foods, clean. I'm not a cheater, so I didn't cheat. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you do. Some people can do that. I'm not a moderator. I chose to not do that. But the one thing I did fall for was the advertising. Even though I worked at a food factory, and you would have thought I knew better, in 1998, I worked at a food factory. So I knew the stuff that was allowed to be in our food, but I didn't think they could lie on the ingredients and the packaging. But I did a lot of the keto treats, which really destroyed my gut. A lot of the multiple kinds of like maltodextrin, the fake sugars, stuff like that really did a number. A lot of it was sucralose. I do not handle sucralose, and I think there's people out there that do. My daughter was fortunate. It gave her headaches, so she didn't do it. Where it didn't do that to me. I didn't get headaches, but it destroyed my gut. So I did that for 2 years, just trying to do anything I could, not being able to figure it out. Not My brain cells were not clicking at the time. And then I was scrolling through Facebook and came upon this crazy guy named Joe Rogan, who I'd never seen before, and a big ogre of a doctor on there named Dr. Baker. And when he started talking carnivore, everything in my brain lit up. It's kind of like when you first go into ketosis, everything. And I was like, holy crap, this is what I need to do. And fully, I intended to only do carnivore just to get everything cleaned out of my system and then to quickly start adding some things back in, like dairy and things like that. Um, I found that I felt so good and that it takes so many years for seed oils to get out of the system that I felt so good eating that way that I just stayed that way. Now, there have been experiments throughout where I've tried to get cheese back in. I did that for a couple weeks. I don't moderate. So cheese is no different than M&Ms or a Snickers bar or a bag of potato chips. I can't eat one little piece, and I'm like, "Hey, I'll just eat, 4 slices out of here." So it doesn't do well for me. My joints pay for it the next day, so I just don't do that. So I do prefer to eat what I would call lion diet. Now there's going to be naysayers out there that say the way I eat, adding the occasional farm fresh egg that I get from people I know and trust and know what they're feeding the chickens, doesn't consider lion. But the meat that I eat is ruminant meat. Once in a while, I will add in like a tuna fish or fish that we catch or sardines if I can make myself. I just couldn't do it. I was supposed to do a sardine fast today, and I just decided just to fast because I don't like sardines. I've tried. I've tried. The only way I can tolerate them is with like 2 pounds of mustard, which I don't mind trying to do that. But I just, how you look at it and you like get the tinglies right here? Couldn't do it. So that's what led me to do carnivore, where I really cured cystic acne, was able to go into menopause much better than what my family history has been with all the other women in my family, um, who make it past the age of 40. Because most of them do not in my family, and I will be 55 in just a few short months. So I just found that like my joint pain went away, my brain fog went away. I could exercise, I could build muscle. Of course, I had already done K2D3 for several decades and had reversed my osteoporosis at that point. But it never hurts to have extra protein and collagen because that's very important in bones as well. So I just have decided that that's the way I'm going to eat. Now, that being said, I don't think every person out there has to do that. I think everybody's biology is different. And I think what you've been around in your lifetime, whether it be from shots, air, food, water, whatever it is, everybody's body reacts differently. And so I think everybody has to do an N equals one experiment to see what works for them. I do have a website where I work with everybody, to try to get them to what works best for them. So that is a little bit about me. So tonight's topic I'm going to go over is nicotine. So I am going to go up here real quick. I just want to say hello to everybody. Oh, I have a new member, Janelle Ziegler. Hello. Hey, Tara. How are you? Brenda. Hello. Hey, Kat. Let's see. Running tap. G'day, Laura. Jeannie from Australia. Hopefully, I did that justice. G'day. Free thinker. Hello. T says, "Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Greetings, Laura from Southwest Ohio. Is it cold there? Man, it's cold here. It was like single digits today, and the wind was crazy. Hey, Lorraine. How are you guys doing? And how is the hubby doing? We always want to know how things are going. Let's see. T says, everybody, 15 degrees. Oh, yeah, that's what is it right now? 12 degrees right now. So, hey, we got into double digits. I didn't know that because after I went and got my hair done, I was like, I'm going back inside and crocheting with the cats. So that's what I did. That's crazy. Oh, free thinkers like I'm in Central Florida. It's like 70 degrees. Hey, Karen, how are you doing? A tin of sardines made me sick all afternoon, so no more. Yeah, they've never made me sick. I don't know what it is, why I can't. It's here. I just can't get through it. I think if I did like a 7-day fast and I was breaking my fast, maybe I could do it because you get so hungry that you're like, you know what, really right now about anything is edible. But yeah, yeah, just not something that I can do. Not something that I can do. Not yet anyway. Let's see. Hey, Cranky, how are you doing? Yes, free thinker. Maybe a while. Yeah, there will be no sardines going down this today. I have like 24 cans of them. I just can't. I'm a big baby. Maybe I should try to fry them crispy. I did see somebody the other day who rolled them in egg yolk and then pork panko and fried them. Maybe I'll try that, but I don't. And mine have the eyeball still, like the head, everything, and they're just like sitting there looking at you. Maybe that's my problem. Oh, let's see. Karen says I ate sardines as a kid, but not now. Yeah. I did not. My mom never did that. She did do, oh, when she would make the patties, it had the little round bones in it. salmon patties. She used to do a lot of salmon. So I had that as a kid, and that, but we lived right by the river, so we fish catfish and stuff like that. So anyway, all right. I will check back with everybody's comments in a little bit. If there's anything that you want me to research and go over, please leave it in the comments. I will try to get to that. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to hear my crazy talks. So, we're going to go over nicotine. So, a lot of people are going to be surprised at what I believe on this. This is going to be what I actually found research wise, and then I always give my opinion because why not? It's my page, right? Doesn't mean I'm right, just means it's my opinion. So, nicotine, the truth about the effects on the body. Okay. So, we've all heard the word, and we instantly start thinking about smoking, vaping, and chew. You know, you see a lot of people in the area I live in, Midwest, a lot of chew tobacco. Um, but the truth is, nicotine itself isn't the villain most people have been made to think that it is. So today I'm going to break down the nicotine, what it actually does in the body, the different forms that it comes in, some of the good and the bad, and how it might even have a place in certain conditions such as ADHD and neurodivergent states. So, what nicotine actually is nicotine is a natural compound found mainly in tobacco plants, but it's not the smoke, tar, or the chemicals that they treat it with. That is what causes the harm. It is the chemicals that they treat it with and how they cure it. So those toxins come from combustion while burning the tobacco. Nicotine itself is a stimulant. It's similar to caffeine in some ways. It activates certain receptors in the brain called nicotinic acetylcholine receptors, which increases alertness, focus, and sometimes even mood. Another side note, nicotinic receptor sites is also a good thing to have something blocking it when it comes to virus and viral load. Just look that up. Pretty interesting. So it activates certain receptors, like I said, the nicotinic acetylcholine, and we've all heard that word, acetylcholine, which is what gets blocked when we take the like omeprazole, the PPEs, stuff like that, PPIs. That is a neurotransmitter. Okay, so different forms of nicotine. So this is some of the ways nicotine can get into the body. Of course, you have your cigars, your cigarettes, you have your chewing, you have your vaping, you have your e-cigarettes. No combustion, but still can include additives and flavor chemicals. Of course, they're like the pouches and stuff like that. Um, let's see. They can be absorbed through the mouth or the gums. No smoke, no vapor, no tar. Considered one of the cleanest forms if used responsibly. That's probably the key word, responsibly. Um, Nicotine gum or patches. So, used in smoking cessations, a lot of the patients I have worked with over the years, whether it be nursing home, hospital, all of those, a lot of times we would put nicotine patches on them because they couldn't smoke in the facility. And you take somebody that was doing 3, 4 packs a day, and I've actually known somebody who was doing 5. I'm not sure how you do that unless you're putting one up each nostril and your mouth, but they did. And you take them and put them in a facility, and all of a sudden they can't have cigarettes or any kind of nicotine. It can really mess with their blood pressure, which the medical establishment doesn't like to hear that. I actually was the power of attorney over somebody and had called the hospital and said, "You are going to be chasing this guy's blood pressure up, then down, then up, then down. You need to put a patch on him, at least one patch, maybe two, because he smoked 4 to 5 packs a day um, while he was in the ICU." And they argued that they've never seen that happen, never seen that, never heard of that, never. And I'm like, okay. Well, 3 days later, they were like, "We can't keep his blood pressure up." They had him on a medication called Levophed. And I said, "For the love of God, put 2 nicotine patches on him, one on each shoulder, and let's just see what happens." I'm his power of attorney. He is a do not resuscitate. What do we have to lose? And his blood pressure normalized. So I guess it was a teaching moment. And these people were, anyway, I'm not even going to go into it. Anyway, so The non-combustible forms eliminate most of the harmful effects associated with the smoking of it. But that being said, like there's Zen, there's Knick Knack, I think there's some other ones out there like that are the lozenges. You still need to be mindful of what additives are in there. Okay. So that's something to look for. So the good is, let's just be real. Nicotine isn't completely harmless, but it's also not the big, bad, scary monster that they make it out to be. So, off topic, I was talking with my hairdresser today, as you often do when you're at the hairdresser, and we were discussing how, there was all this medicine back in the day when our kids were younger. And it was like, you started to get a sinus infection and you went and got this. And it was like, it took care of it. And your kids had this, and you had this certain purple medicine that you could give them. And it's amazing how well it worked. And it's like all of a sudden it's pulled off. And I was like, but isn't it funny? Vioxx that they knew was going to cause 80% of the men who took Vioxx, which was a cholesterol lowering medicine, were going to end up with prostate cancer. And they knew it before they put it on the market. So when I see them go after something, I'm always like, is it that bad? Because the stuff that we know is bad, you seem to want to put up on a pedestal. So I'm one of those people where usually if they tell me to run this way, I go the other direction. So, possible side effects of using these cleaner products that are nicotine is increased alertness, attention, and focus, improved short term memory and reaction time, especially with dementia and Alzheimer's. Seen it in the nursing home. May help reduce appetite or carb cravings, enhances dopamine and acetylcholine. These are neurotransmitters linked to mood and learning. So, there are possible downsides. So, nicotine itself is not found to be habit forming. Okay. I'm going to say that again. Nicotine alone is not habit forming. Nicotine with these additives is what is habit forming. Okay. When you add in these other things, that's why they added them in there. Okay. Nicotine itself is not. So it can raise your heart rate and blood pressure temporarily. In some sense, some people are very sensitive to this, and it may cause anxiety and jitterness. Now, I will tell you that with some of these options, like your knickknacks and your stuff like that, they have, I think their highest is maybe 15 milligrams and their lowest is 3. You can break that in half. You're doing 1.5 milligram. So there's things that you can do. Overuse can lead to some dependence when they have additives. Okay. I don't think if you start wearing a patch and then you take it off that you're going to be like, I need my patch, I need my hit. You're not. That is not how nicotine works. So, where nicotine could be helpful, there is extreme interest and a lot of studies going on right now about how nicotine and cognitive is a cognitive enhancer, especially in medical and neuro cognitive conditions such as ADHD, autism spectrum, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. It's amazing. Depression because of the low dopamine state. Now, that doesn't mean just run out there and start using it. It just means that there is science out there, real science, the whole science, not part, that says that some of this stuff can help. So, clean, controlled forms such as lozenges, gums, pouches, or, like I said, the patches could be beneficial for certain individuals. Who should avoid it? Same as what you would expect: pregnant, breastfeeding women, people with uncontrolled hypertension or heart rhythm issues, anyone with addictive tendencies if you are doing any of these nicotine products that have some of these other additives, because those additives can get you hooked very fast. Teens, their brains are not developed. They can't make decisions. They have to have your permission to leave high school to go to a dentist appointment. Okay. So, bottom line is nicotine itself isn't evil. It's a delivery system that makes it harmful. Okay. The delivery system is what can make it harmful. When used carefully in clean, low dose forms, it may have potential benefits, especially on focus, mood, and cognitive functions. So it's all about context, it's all about the dosing, and it's about your awareness. Um, Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to give my little bit on this. Um, I have the lowest dose patches and I do one patch a week. I have done this for a few months just to see if I noticed any difference on myself or not. And I did it that way. And then I didn't wear any for like 2 weeks. And I was not walking around going, oh, I got to have my nicotine. I wanted to see because I have an addictive personality. So I was like, well, if anybody's going to get addicted, I could do it. And no problems whatsoever. I did notice the focus. Um, I do have OCD. I was never told I have ADHD. I'm sure as a child, if you saw me in the classroom, I'm sure that I would have been told that I had that. But it did really help with, how quickly your focusing is. It's kind of like I would consider it to be like people who like to drink coffee. I would say it's probably similar to the benefit that they get when they drink coffee. And it's kind of like my husband has to have 2 full cups of coffee before you can have a conversation with him. He's there, but he's not there yet. 2 cups of coffee and it's like somebody plugged him in. So I would say it's very similar to that. So, with that being said, this is, as always, not medical advice. I am a nurse, thank God, hallelujah. Would not want to be a doctor in the environment there is now. Um, and you just need to look at these things and go out and research these things. I do a ton of research on the things that I look up for people and for myself. Um, and I look at multiple entities. I don't go to one side, two sides. I do a lot of it still the old fashioned way in books. I'm probably one of the only people that goes into our local library and checks out books still that are the scientific books because there's dust on them. So I think there's not a whole lot of that that goes on because you can't find a lot of it online. It's just that everything is AI now, and I never know what is real and what's fake. So I try to go to the book and hopefully have a decent source. So let's see if anybody had any questions. Hey, Brian. Sardines are high in histamine. Maybe that's why I don't do well with them. I don't know that I've read that anywhere. I'm not saying that's not true. That's possibly true. That was why I can't that's why I can't do pork, chicken, turkey. I can't do a whole lot of egg whites. Now, if they're farm eggs that I know exactly what they're fed and they're not fed a bunch of soy and corn and crap, I can do better with those. But if I try to do like 2 yolks, let's say 3 yolks and 1 egg white, I'd be okay. But if I try to do 2 egg whites to those yolks, I'm going to wake up with histamine issues the next day. So I don't know, but just the idea of the eyeball looking at me, I think it is what it is. Let's see. Freethinker says, Laura, I am loving your facial serum and hyaluronic serum. It arrived last Thursday. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I use it, both of them, every single day. I am so ecstatic at my sun damage that I had. I had such from just being out in the garden and fishing for 8 hours, and of course I had all those seed oils that was cooking. It's the best thing I've come up with. I love it. I do have some new products that I am working on. One of them is going to be like a diaper rash barrier type lotion, that will have like the good zinc. And when I say good zinc, um, talking about the zinc oxide powder, and you want it to be a certain molecular weight. And I have that. So I'm going to be making that next because the babies they need their bottoms taken care of as well. And then there might be some other things that I decide to do. So let's see. I haven't seen her new. Oh, oh yeah. What brand are mine? Something caught, wild caught, Alaskan caught, wild Alaskan caught. Anyway, whatever it is, it's the whole thing. Like it's still the scales, it's the eyeball, it's the tail, it's the fins. Because they said it was supposed to be better for you, but I just can't get past it. I need to cover their eyeballs with something. Maybe if I covered them with like my like my tallow mayo. Maybe that would help. Let's see. Da-da. Let's see. Cranky says, what is the maximum milligram of nicotine gum would you recommend? Um, the ones that I have seen people use are like your mid-range. I haven't had anybody go to like the highest dose that's out there that's available for like your Nicorette, and I'm not sure what you guys have over there. But I recommend starting with your very lowest and then see how you feel and then maybe step it up and step it up. But I'm always for trying to keep that middle ground. If I can avoid having to be anywhere near the top, that's kind of what I try to do is stay away from that. But I do really think it helps. I actually have a patient that I had last year who had had a stroke prior to us going in. And of course, they did all the good things and are eating the fat and threw away the crap that they were given for 35 years, but still had a stroke. So obviously, cholesterol wasn't the issue. Um, and they started doing, they're doing a patch. And I think theirs is a 7, which I'm not sure if that's the lowest, but I feel like theirs was a 7. And they're finding that he's like rewiring stuff. He's regaining stuff well after a year. Um, his fine motor, his speech is better. What was the other? He's walking better. His balance is improved. And he had real bad dizziness from that stroke. Like he had vertigo, and that has improved. So, yeah. Oh, crazy. So, Steadfast says I eat 8 tins a week. See, if you had to have the eyeballs, you wouldn't be able to eat 8 tins a week. I just maybe need to get a different kind. What is everybody's favorite kind of sardines out there that don't have the eyeballs on it? I take plenty of other good fats, so I'm not going to worry about all that beneficial because they're like the omega-3 is here, and I'm like, I get a lot of omega-3. I'm probably okay, but I need something that doesn't have the eyeballs staring at me because I can't. And I know that sounds crazy since I'm a deer hunter and I field dress my own deer and then I process my own deer. But when I'm cooking it, I'm not looking at it because they are beautiful. So yeah, Wild Planet. Oh, okay. And season. I'm going to write that down because I don't want to forget that. I will check Wild Planet. And is Wild Planet or this other one, this season, are you able to buy these in a store or these ones that I would need to look at online? Which I'm okay either way. I have a crappy little debit card that I purposely keep like almost nothing. Um, I don't keep very much on there so that if somebody gets my information, I'm like, oh, you made $14. But I do that. So Lamb says, hi, Laura, did I miss the nicotine bit? You did. You did, but you can go back and watch it. And I think you can do it in like a faster mode. And I kind of sound like Alvin from the Chipmunks when you do that, because I've done that myself. Um, yes, but I think it'll be very interesting for you to definitely do. Season is at Walmart and Wild Planet is from Amazon. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I am definitely going to go do that. I do think there are some benefits to it. I just got to quit being a baby. And such a baby. Let's see. Hey, Laura, caught your live. Oh, yes, you did. Good. Good, good, good. Hope the cats are good. Hoping your friend is still doing okay and just comfortable, for sure. Chicken of the sea and extra small and tender, no eyeballs. Good to know. That's good. Brunswick, skinless, boneless, and olive oil. Brenda. Huh. Brunswick. I think I've heard that name, but see, I probably didn't write it down. And us nurses have to write everything down. My instructor, when I was in school, she's like, you're going to have you're going to get ink poisoning because I would write vitals and stuff on my hand. Cause I'm like, she goes, if you lose that information, I'm like, if I lose my hand, we're in bigger trouble than me losing somebody's vital signs. Let's just be honest. I drove her insane. God rest her soul. And no, I did not cause her any ill. She lived for many, 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 many decades after school. Oh, That's too bad. I'm sorry to hear about him passing away. Hopefully, he definitely was, comfortable. That is my main thing. Sometimes we can't fix what's wrong, and so, my big thing is, "Hey, let's get you comfortable." I will only do olive oil if it says extra virgin, otherwise it's cut. Yeah. Um, I'm trying to think. I think the can that I dug out today is in olive oil. It says extra virgin olive oil, but I don't trust that. So I would rinse it anyway. So I'm not going to do that. But I react too much to seed oils, so I'm not willing to take that risk. So Lamb says YouTube suddenly stopped sending me the 30-minute notices for live streams. Anyone else experiencing this? It could be that I'm a little shadow banned sometimes because they don't necessarily like all the stuff that I talk about and the interviews that I go on. So hopefully it's not. They have both brands at Costco. Ah, okay. I live too far. I don't have, I think the closest Costco is like 2.5 hours away. Not that that's impossible. Um, it'd be one of those things that if I went to this part of this state in Illinois, it'd be worth going by and doing that. But I think you have to have a membership with who knows what oil. Otherwise, water. Yeah, and water is what I would probably do. It was definitely comfortable in the end, thankfully. That is good. That is definitely good. So, okay, I don't have the pleasure of a Costco. Yeah, I don't either. Uh, is N-acetylcholine good for boosting immunity? Absolutely. Um, Selenium, keeping your vitamin D level high, and I recommend K2D3. Zinc, magnesium, going out in the sunlight, even in the cold. Um, Fasting. Fasting is good for your immune system. I always tell people, like a couple weeks ago, my husband had that horrific cold, whatever crap that was going around. And let me just tell you how quickly I went back to doing my elderberry tincture daily. Because prior to that, I would just do it here or there. If I started to get something, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to take. I was like, nope, I am not getting this. I cannot. We are super busy at work, and there's only two of us to cover a huge county. So I was like, I can't get sick. And so I just, every day I did a third of a dropper underneath my tongue, held it for 30 seconds. I made some fire honey and I did a spoonful a day for like 3 days. And then I was like, kind of gave me a headache because it was so sweet. But I don't know if a combination of that, but I haven't gotten any of that and I don't want it. I do not want it. It's Karen and Lambs. I think what I've had to do because I watch like Diary of a CEO. Oh, who is that other one? Tony Robbins. Or some other ones that I watch. Every so often, I have to go back out there and hit that notification bell. It's like it undoes itself. I don't know why, but that might be something that you can look at to see if it is. Let's see. So Kat says, I'm terrible at fasting. I think of food the whole time. I keep myself very, very busy. I used to be somebody that was like food, food, food. And so that's when, making my products, crocheting blankets for my patients for their discharge, um, just staying busy. I find that if I can keep my mind off of doing other things, that then that kind of helps with that. And after the first 24 hours, I find that's really my hard struggle is that first 24 when I, fasted a lot. Now I just usually fast every day, at least, 16, 18 hours. And sometimes I do 24 and sometimes, but even the inkling of a scratchy throat or a stuffy nose, fasting. I'm not putting anything in my body, water, salt, and my supplements. That's it. Let's see. Lamb says it's not just carnivore channels. Yeah, but I don't just talk carnivore stuff. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I can get a little in the tinfoil hat section, which I'm okay with. Let's see. Just making sure I don't miss anybody's stuff before I get moving. Hey, Bill, how are you? Target. Just saying hello. Hope you are well. Yes, I'm doing my tincture. Okay. I feel like going on his thing tomorrow night when him and Rick are out there talking, and I'm gonna be like, my tincture kept me from getting. And like even the people who started taking it late, it's like they didn't get as sick as they normally do, and they got over it in 3 days instead of it being 3 weeks, which is what our hospital has been seeing. These people with this cold, flu, whatever crap it is that they've sprung upon us. 3 weeks is the average hospital stay at our hospital. That is all ages. They are seeing that in like 20 some year olds, 50-year olds, and some of them in their 90s. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Let me let's see. Yeah, I definitely have a tinfoil hat. I'd have tinfoil underwear if they made it. I could probably make it. Let's just be honest. Free and everyone else. That's good. Oh, that's okay, Dawn. Yep. I will go back to the beginning because we did go over the nicotine, and then I'm going to go over next week's talk. And as I said, if there is anything you would want me to research out, um, I usually use 3 to 5, uh, whether it be books, whether it be scientific journals, whether it be sites. Usually 3 to 5 of those is what I do for most everything and cross reference stuff. Um, but yeah, if you'll put that in the comments, or if there's like, a family member that has this and you've never heard of it or you're not sure what that is, please put that in the comments and I will definitely look at it. I did not get the flu. So Karen Harrington said, I did not get the flu. Everyone in my department got it. Good for you. That's the way to do it. Yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah, my boss got it. My CNA got it. She had, but hers was like 3 weeks ago. My husband had it. Several of my patients had it. Everybody at the grocery store when we were there a week ago, week and a half ago, everybody's hacking on their hands and then touching the stuff. I wasn't buying any of it, so I didn't touch it. I didn't care. But I was like, nah. Okay, so Cranky, he's got a question. What is the tincture and how is it used? So, what I do, and you can probably get this multiple places if you have health food stuff where you're at. Um, Elderberry tincture is antiviral. Okay, so I really like to use that. That is something I have used for a very, very long time, and I do make my own, but you can make your own. If you've got a really high quality, top shelf vodka, I think you can use Everclear, but that brings back 1984, and we're not going to talk about that today. Um, and Mad Dog, bad idea. Anyway, you can just get elderberries, and if you grow your own, that's the best. And you can dry them. You can leave them be normal and just put them in there. I prefer to dry them first, and then I will put them in, cover them with vodka, and I do that for at least 6 weeks. This last batch, I did 3 months, and let me tell you, it's doing something. But what I do with my tinctures is I do about a third of the dropper. I put it under my tongue. I hold it there for about 30 seconds. It's going to sting a little bit because of the alcohol. It's a very minor amount of alcohol. It's not going to kill our livers. But then you swallow. And I swear by it, just like the oregano oil for bacteria. Wonderful stuff. I had a discussion with somebody today and she was, well, your alternative stuff. And I was like, what makes it alternative? And I said, because the medical establishment started in 1910 with medicines being, pushed to the forefront. So they haven't been around very long. All of these other things have been around since millennia of our ancestors figuring out what they could use as medicinal herbs, plants, things to get over stuff. So who's the alternative? The one that's been around for at least 3,000 years or the ones that's been out since 1910? She blocked me, but I'm okay with that. I don't think we were going to be friends, but that's okay. I can be friends with people who disagree. You just can't be nasty. What do you reckon made the difference, Karen? Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna ask her the same thing. I'm glad you asked. I didn't know if she was doing oregano oil and or tinctures or what she was doing. My husband has MD. I can't keep him off carbs. Yeah. Um, for muscular dystrophy, another thing that I would really, 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 really do, I would get on coconut oil, MCT oil, high fat, and I would do CoQ10. Okay. And you can look that up as to why that would help with his condition, but I would absolutely be doing that for sure. And does he do the grocery shopping? Because I would just wouldn't buy the carrots. I mean, carrots aren't the worst carb, but they do turn to sugar. Um, but yeah, Karen says, I swear by my zinc, vitamin, yep, K2D3, oregano oil, and a teeny tiny. Oh, so you do your oregano oil in a pill or a little capsule? Yeah, yep. I've had it that way, but like the oregano oil I make, I mix with black seed oil and then I use organic virgin olive oil, and it is one country of origin. And I utilize that. You can put it in teas and take it down that way. I use it topically on wounds that are infected that can't seem to heal, especially diabetic wounds because they're not getting the blood flow to there. So taking the antibiotic doesn't really get it to the area it needs to get when the blood flow isn't getting to those sites. And then up the sinuses, if you're starting to get sinus infection, couple drops in the ear if you're getting ear infections. So, okay, let's see. Absolutely. Berberine every day. You're looking at a girl that takes berberine every single day. I only do it once a day. I have patients who are diabetic who are trying to get their hemoglobin A1C down and getting off of metformin. They're taking it 3 times a day, as you would with like a metformin or a glucophage. And then they will titrate that back to just 1 time a day. Oh, good. Good, good, good. Let's see. Yes, let's please hope that he is not on a statin of any kind. So many of them now have all these fenofibrate and these names that don't sound like a statin. You really, really have to be careful. So that's good. He has MCT oil and coconut good in his coffee every morning. Yay, very good. And with the coffee, it helps that the caffeine helps cross the blood-brain barrier, but I would get the CoQ10. Okay. And no statins. Yay, good. I didn't figure that you would probably let him do that. Like you take it out of his pill container. So anyway, I'm going to go over a little bit of what I'm going to go over next week. So next Monday, I'm going to be going over magnesium. I'm going to go over what it does and why we probably need more of it. Now, I've had some people that are like, you're carnivore. You shouldn't have to take any of these supplements. And I said, have you seen the ground that these animals are eating off of? Have you seen the grasses that they're eating and the ground it's growing in? It's dead. It's devoid of any of these nutrients that used to be there. The groundwater is horrible. So we don't have those vitamins and minerals that we used to. You could look up a study and it talked about the minerals and vitamins that is in an ear of corn from 1962. Of course, it was a little ear of corn because they were not ginormous, and look at the mineral and vitamin content. I believe it was 1998. It might have been 2000. And look at the comparison. It's like this one had minerals and vitamins, and this one you might as well chew the paper that it was written on because there literally is nothing there. So, not everybody needs to take supplements, and you don't have to. I do. He's not on any meds, only ibuprofen. Ugh, ibuprofen. But I understand why he's on that. Let's see. Can you find out if magnesium helps? Absolutely, magnesium helps with restless leg syndrome. I would, if it was me, I would be taking magnesium glycinate, 240 every night before bed. I would make a magnesium oil spray and have castor oil in it, and I would rub that from above my knees to my feet and put on long pajamas. Um, yes. And I would be taking zinc to make sure you're getting it. Oh, good. Good, good, good. So she's been using egg yolk lecithin and hexane-free EV good castor oil for your eyes and zinc and the magnesium for cramping as per your recommendation. Cramping is better. Wait till your eyeballs, you're going to be like, all of a sudden you're going to have better vision and they're not going to be dry. I don't know if you had dry, but man, it's just crazy how quickly it does work. So that's good. I'm happy to hear that. That makes my nurse heart so happy when somebody is getting improvements from what they're doing, putting in their body versus when we eat the standard American diet and take the stuff that we have. And yeah, so all right. See you later, Bill. All right. Anyway, we'll talk about the magnesium, what it does in the body, things it can do. Um, yeah, that'll be next Monday. So have a wonderful evening. I appreciate everybody being here. And as I always say, meet, heat, eat, and repeat. See ya.